Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Infinity, and this is Magnetize Yourself, where we talk about life, love, spirituality, and of course, the law of attraction. In today's video, we are going to be doing a deep dive reading for the divine feminine and the divine masculine. So these energies are essentially the building blocks of everything. Everything contains within it some balance of masculine and feminine energy. So when I channeled into these dynamics, keep in mind that I could be speaking about an external person or situation, or even like an environment in your life. I also could be speaking about something happening internally with your internal masculine or internal feminine. So always use your intuition. Only take the messages that do resonate for you in a personal and intuitive way. And so I'm going to start with the divine feminine energy, and then we're going to move over to the divine masculine. So if at any point during this reading, the messages are resonating and you would like to get a deeper dive into these dynamics, you can check out the extended version of this reading that will be available after the video, and the link to access it is in the pinned comment and description box below. Okay, so I'm going to get started by shuffling the Energy Oracle Cards deck. I have my plain black coffee here. I would love to know what you're eating or drinking during the reading, if you have some kind of a beverage or snack. Also, let me know how you've been feeling with the energy lately. I know that many of us have been in kind of a sort of void where we're feeling a lot building behind the scenes, and yet still feeling a bit of that void space energy. So this can create a kind of internal tension. Maybe this is a message right away for a divine feminine, because I feel there's a message coming up about how there can be a kind of tension when you feel a momentum building in the void, because your soul knows on some level that there is a lot shifting behind the scenes for you. And in a way, there's like this building in a positive direction happening for you. But at the same time, you are physically in some way still in this void, and maybe even emotionally for you as well, or mentally. So you might feel this momentum intuitively that makes you kind of want to move into action. But then whenever you go to actually take those actions, you may feel like you're coming up against some internal resistance, because it's almost like your soul is still telling you to relax into the void, to give yourself rest and care and nourishment, and to not rush this process that's happening behind the scenes. So I feel that many divine feminines especially, and I just saw 333 on the recording timer, are in that energy and being asked to stay fully present with themselves and with this unfolding, like building process taking place internally with the sacral chakra coming up here. Yeah, I'm hearing come back to the now and release your fears, release your anxieties as best as you can. Like let that energy move through you. If you're having a moment where you're feeling low or feeling anxious, let that energy be processed through you and come back to that state of peace within yourself. I've personally been listening a lot to my divine physical stability subliminal, which I'm really glad I created a couple weeks ago, because it's become so relevant in this energy space that we're in right now. And it really helps me come back into my body, to come back to my breath, to feel anchored and grounded in the present, but then also to open up that creativity in a gentle way that's working with your nervous system and maintaining that state of peace and stability as you're creating. So if you would like to utilize the Divine Physical Stability Subliminal as a tool, then you can get my app by clicking the link in the pinned comment or description box below, and you can just search for it under the All Audios tab in the app. So let me go ahead and shuffle here. Yeah, the fact anxiety reversed is coming out here, is telling me that for some divine feminines, there have been these feelings of anxiety surfacing lately, but there's this sense that you're meant to stay present with them or even to create with them because the sacral chakra is coming out in connection with this. And the sacral is all about creative energy. So what I'm getting is that you can, not only that you can, but also that it's really beneficial to your energy system to allow yourself to create with what is coming up for you emotionally, to let it move through you into some kind of outlet, which I know for many of you is some sort of creative outlet, but it also could be writing, journaling, even just letting yourself feel it like in a meditation. But there's something about letting yourself be present with that energy and transmuting it, putting it into a different form, moving it so that it no longer is living in your body. I'm hearing it's meant to be like a wave that processes through you. I'm also hearing something about not attaching it to your identity. So there may be this temptation, this tendency to take that anxious energy and to start kind of extrapolating from it in a sense where you begin to wonder, like, is something wrong with me on a core level? Am I backsliding? Am I moving in a negative direction? There's a lot of like self-doubt language, especially inner talk coming out here, inner dialogue that you could be dealing with that may be very unusual for you, because I'm getting that you've learned how to really speak positively about yourself and how to really believe in yourself. But there's something about the void space that we're in right now that could actually be triggering this sort of self-doubt dialogue in you. But again, it's very important that you don't attach these waves of energy moving through you to your core sense of identity, that you don't start thinking that something is wrong with you, because that's not the case. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not backsliding. I'm hearing your core energy has not lowered. Your core frequency has not lowered, even if at times it feels like that way. In fact, your core frequency is higher than ever before. And what I'm getting is you can actually look at your life and see, wait a second, clearly my core frequency is higher. My baseline energy is higher because I'm seeing that show up in this form of progress, or in that area of my life, or in that way that I've started thinking or believing about myself. And so it may even be helpful or beneficial to sit down and to write out all of these signs of evidence that you are at a higher core frequency than you were months or years ago, because I guarantee you can find so many pieces of evidence to support the fact that your core frequency, your baseline has lifted. It is higher than it was before. It's just that right now there are these waves of energy moving through you. And from one perspective, you letting these waves of energy move through you is actually allowing you to be a vessel of transmutation for the collective as well. It's like you are actually processing and transmuting collective energy in the process of this. In fact, for many of you, I'm hearing this is what you've been preparing for. Interesting. Maybe there's something, some phase of your life coming up that you've been preparing for, almost like training for spiritually. It's almost like you had to learn how to clear out all of your own trauma and your own shadow and limiting belief systems, and really come back to that core of who you are and learn how to raise your inner baseline frequency, so that when these waves of energy would come, which seem to be coming like externally from the collective, I feel like these waves of energy we're talking about, they seem to be waves that you are picking up on from the collective that are being processed through you, because as we've been channeling a lot in recent readings, you feel what others suppress. You feel everything while many others suppress everything. So on a collective level, your mind, your emotions manifest and exhibit what the collective consciousness may be suppressing. But in the process of you feeling it, you are actually facilitating the collective in transmuting it. And this is part of your invisible work here on earth as a light worker that often goes uncelebrated and underappreciated because it is invisible, because people can't necessarily see it on the surface. But there's something about you really coming into a conscious recognition of how powerful this work is, even if it doesn't always make sense at that conscious level. For some reason, I'm seeing storm clouds through a window. So I don't know if that's metaphoric, almost like You are inside like the observer. The storm isn't affecting you, but you're very observant of it. You have a window into it. And I feel somehow that represents what's happening with you and the collective consciousness. You are this processor of what the collective is suppressing, but know that their storms are not affecting you. They are waves that are like moving over you and meant to be processed through you. And this may be part of your work here on earth as a light worker that happens behind the scenes. But also, these waves of energy are not lowering your core baseline frequency. They're not affecting you on a core level. And I feel it's very important for you to reaffirm that to yourself, because that may be part of what your conscious mind starts latching onto and worrying about, like wondering, is this affecting me on a deeper level? Again, I just keep hearing those negative spiraling thoughts like, am I backsliding? Am I losing my grip? Am I whatever? So listening to your inner dialogue and doing your best to shift it in a more positive direction accordingly. Because again, a lot of that inner dialogue is actually being affected by what the collective is suppressing, what the collective is going through. So it's very important that you fortify your inner temple, your inner dialogue. And of course, there are many ways to do this. Personally, I find subliminals to be really powerful for this. So again, if you would like to use these subliminals I've created to help you shift your inner dialogue in more positive directions, the link to my app is below. They also include affirmations that you can see that are embedded within the subliminals that you can also speak to yourself consciously. So speaking to yourself consciously in new ways out loud, combined with doing deeper level subconscious inner dialogue shifting, will be so powerful for clearing out these waves of energy that you may be experiencing. So what else can I channel for the Divine Feminine? Okay, Divine Feminine, there's something coming up here about how someone is meeting your magic with hesitation. That is actually a verbatim quote that came through when I was journaling this morning and meditating, getting ready for this reading. I'm actually recording this the day of, so this is essentially a real-time reading video. I'm recording it just right before I'm going to be posting it. So we're tapping into really the moment here, in a sense, collectively for the Divine Feminine. And I'm feeling like there is someone who is meeting your magic with hesitation. It's like you're showing up in this beautiful, high vibrational, mystical energy. And it's almost as though this person can't quite grasp that, or they can't understand or conceptualize that. They're coming from a much more logical perspective. And this also is someone who's dealing with something in their heart chakra, with the heart chakra card in the reverse position. And the feeling that I get around this person, the best way I can describe it, and I don't know if this is a friend, a family member, a boss, a coworker, or a romantic person for you, take it however it's connecting. But it feels as though this is someone who, for example, if you go to them and you tell them like, oh, I have this dream for my life, or this vision, or this thing I want to do, it's like they would meet you with caution. They would say, oh, well, maybe don't dream so big, or don't have such a big vision, or you don't want to burn yourself out, or you don't want to do too much, or you don't want to like disappoint yourself. So maybe make that vision smaller. And they may not say it verbatim with those words. That's just like the energy that I get from them. So it's very subtle, because I'm getting it's under the guise of care, but really it's coming from their own limitations. So it's almost like they're presenting like they are hesitating or expressing caution towards you because they care about you. But on a deeper level, and I'm not saying they don't care on a conscious level, but subconsciously on a deeper level that they may not even be consciously aware of, the reason that they're meeting your magic with hesitation is because they're projecting their own limitations onto you. So this is someone who has never maybe let themselves dream that big, or who maybe even sacrificed or gave up some of their dreams or limited themselves. And so they meet you with those same limitations that they've placed upon themselves. But again, it's very subtle, because something on the surface about this person does seem to be very supportive, especially when it comes to material forms of support. Like maybe they take care of things materially or support you physically in some way, or they on the surface seem to give you support but with all of this hesitation beneath it. That's what I'm picking up on here. And so I feel that something about this person seems to like confuse you, because it's almost like you want to feel supported by them because they're checking a lot of boxes, and on the surface, it looks like they're being supportive, but your soul is feeling restricted around them. And you may have even been kind of gaslighting yourself or blaming yourself for this dynamic. Like, why can't I just settle into this support? What about this is causing me to feel, it's almost like when you're around this person, you feel like you are shrinking in a way, and then blaming yourself for it, but it's actually what's going on in their energy. And I'm hearing something about being cautious about opening up more vulnerable parts of yourself with this person. That doesn't mean that you have to disconnect from them entirely, unless that is what feels right for you. Of course, listen to your intuition on that. But I'm getting that in many cases, it's more so like this person can't hold the deepest dreams or the deepest visions that you have, because they will naturally want to shrink those dreams and visions. They can't hold the most vulnerable parts of you, even if they want to on a conscious level. It's like they seem to want to show up for you in that way, but they're coming from their own limitations. And so they quite literally can't hold those dreams that you have, because they would naturally want to project limitation and doubt onto those dreams, because that's how they feel about themselves. Sorry, I had a voice crack there for a second. I'm still waking up. I'm recording this in the morning where I am right now. But what I'm getting is that there's something else going on here too. This is someone who is dealing with a lot of emotions that they are glossing over or not letting themselves feel. Now, I could be channeling into an entirely different person or energy now for some of you, so take it how it's connecting, but I'm picking up a thread of energy from a person who, whenever you're around them, you feel everything that they are suppressing, kind of like what we talked about happening on a collective level, where you are feeling everything that the collective is suppressing. When it comes to this individual, you are feeling, when you're around them, and expressing all of the emotions that they are fighting and that they are suppressing within themselves. And so whenever the two of you connect or get together, again, doesn't have to be romantic, but it could be, it's like they walk away feeling lighter, feeling more heart open, feeling like a sense of relief. And you walk away almost feeling this sense of like panic or a system overwhelm or this unexplainable anxiety and this like heaviness in your being. And this is because you are, when you're around them, processing a lot of what they're feeling through your own energy. And it's happening all on this like deeper unconscious level. So neither of you are really consciously aware that this is taking place, but they walk away feeling lighter because on some level they're sensing that you've processed what they are not processing for themselves. But you walk away feeling, I'm almost getting like this anxiety, because your mind is scrambling to try and understand why your system is feeling overwhelmed. But what you're getting overwhelmed by is all of this energy, heart energy coming from this person, emotional energy that they are holding on to, that they're not dealing with. And I'm getting something about them covering what they're not feeling or dealing with. So I don't know if that's with like some kind of habit or action or addiction or pattern or something. I feel like there's some way that they block themselves from feeling, whether it's numbing out or just distracting themselves, whatever it is, they seem to numb out so that they don't have to feel certain things that are really hard for them to process. But then when you're around them, you feel all of it. Like your system expresses everything that they are repressing within themselves. And so that is why when you're around this person, you feel this sense of emotional overwhelm or even like an anxiety or panic that feels unexplainable. Your system is like, in a way, kind of freaking out because it's like, what is this foreign energy that we're dealing with? Why are we suddenly feeling overworked in a way? And it's because of what you're picking up from this person when you're around them. So it's almost like you're starting to notice this correlation that whenever you spend time with them, you feel this way afterwards. But there's a part of you wanting to kind of gaslight yourself out of it or to say, no, it has to be something that I'm doing. Because again, on the surface, this person or situation, it doesn't have to be a person. For some of you, I'm feeling like this could be a job or an environment or something. But it's almost like you want to try and write it off, but your soul knows that it's picking up something from this person or situation and doing a lot of legwork internally, and that is why you are feeling overwhelmed. And of course, the biggest sign of that is when you do set boundaries and take some time away from this person, place, or energy, you immediately notice yourself stabilizing. Yeah, I'm hearing take some time away. Maybe for some of you, there's a way that you can remove yourself, at least temporarily, from this situation to reestablish what your baseline core energy is and to really get clear on what is yours and what is theirs. I'm getting that on a kind of higher level here. The reason things like this affect you so much is because you are someone who operates on a really high level. So your system is naturally very attuned in a way. And so even the slightest bit of negative energy externally, if it's brought into your ecosystem, your system, consistently, it can affect you in a stronger way than most people would be affected. And it's because you've become so attuned to really high vibrational energies and frequencies that I'm hearing even the slightest point of negativity feels amplified for you. And so I'm getting that you have to be very selective, and that you really have been very selective about who you bring into your ecosystem of energy. And it really is an ecosystem in the sense that every single piece has to work in harmony with every other piece. And you are not separate from like your environment or your friendships or your romantic relationships or whatever it is in your life. It's all very interconnected and everything feeds off of each other. And so I'm hearing it's almost in a very like delicate balance. But when I say delicate, I don't mean fragile. I mean that it's very harmonious, and you've learned how to construct this very harmonious ecosystem around yourself that works with itself on all levels. And so when I say it's delicate, I mean it's highly attuned and very powerful. And it's almost like your ecosystem is your generator for everything, for your creativity, for whatever you consider to be your success, for your growth, for your spiritual expansion. It all works together. You don't have this ability to compartmentalize or like separate out these different areas of your life. And I feel that this person or environment may have been someone that you brought in or something you brought in or added to this ecosystem relatively recently that's been affecting the balance. But again, this doesn't mean you have to disconnect from them entirely unless that's what you decide to do, unless that feels right for you. In many cases, this may just be a call to set up stronger energetic boundaries and to no longer open up the more soft and vulnerable and visionary parts of yourself to this person, because it would be, in biblical terms, sort of like yoking yourself unequally to this person, like tying yourself to them in a way where you are carrying more of the weight. And in fact, you're carrying a lot of their emotional weight. This is also reminding me that I am going to be creating a subliminal called Strong Energetic Boundaries. And regardless of what you choose to do with this situation, I feel that one would be very powerful for you. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in the description box below, but I will let you know in the description when it's available in the app so that you can go and check it out. I also will leave a list in the description box of a quote unquote collective playlist that I mentioned a couple weeks ago. So this will be based on the current collective energy, some subliminals from the app that I would really recommend that you could create a new playlist with or add to your current playlist that will help you actually work with these energy dynamics on a deeper level. I feel like it would be a beautiful thing to create and update a collective playlist whenever I'm doing these readings, so that as things are moving and shifting collectively, and as I'm adding new subliminals to the app, we can then update and like fill out this collective playlist that can really help you to work with and shift this energy on a deeper level. So all of that will be below, but I want to dive deeper into what is going on with this person. Specifically, what are they not processing in their heart? Because I keep getting something about their voice and how I'm going to take a quick sip of my coffee here. And I saw 444 there as well. That could be a number connecting with you. I'm hearing something about their voice. So maybe they say all of the right things on the surface, but there's like a dissonance. The sensation that I'm getting is like when you're hearing someone talk, but it's making your body feel tense because something about it feels off, because you're picking up on some kind of dissonant energy. And the divine feminine is especially perceptive at picking up on dissonant energy. So what I'm getting is like, you are picking up that, and again, it could be their voice, it could be their demeanor, it could just be being around them, but it's like you are detecting through your highly advanced, highly attuned energy systems that there's something incongruent about this person or situation, that there's a dissonance beneath the surface. But on the surface, it looks like polished or glossy, or it looks tied up with a bow. It looks right on the surface. But there's something your mind is like constantly scanning for, because on an intuitive level, you're sensing an offness in the energy. It's kind of like how when you are a very intuitive person, you're sort of like a human lie detector. Not that this person is consciously lying to you, but I feel that like there's something, their energy is lying, if that makes sense. Like there's something in their energy that is off, that is dissonant in some way. And it's this heart chakra block or whatever it is they're dealing with on their heart that they're trying to gloss over or put a Band-Aid on. And I have to say that for some of you, you may have even been one form of quote unquote distraction for this person. So if this is a romantic situation, if it's a friend, whatever, I feel that you're almost kind of sensing yourself in a way being used as a Band-Aid for what they are not looking at within themselves. Because again, your presence really causes them to feel uplifted because they feel like you are making them feel lighter. This person may say things like, oh, you saved me, or you make me a better person, or you help me so much, or being around you is so inspiring. And of course, some of those things are not necessarily red flags on the surface. Like it's beautiful for someone to tell you that you uplift them or that you inspire them. But I feel like even that is sending off these signals for you, like something isn't quite right here. And that is your system detecting that they are not looking at something within themselves. It's like there's something that they're refusing to look at, and they are trying to use other things to distract themselves or to vent some of this energy without actually processing the blockage within themselves. And I feel that the tension you may be experiencing, or even the system overwhelm that you get after being around this person, is sort of a byproduct of what they are not looking at within themselves. There's like a deeper blockage that needs to be processed here, but I see them like trying to vent or siphon off some of that energy, trying to like release a little bit of that pressure here and there, but they're not actually addressing the core wound, if that makes sense. So let's see what is going on with this person. What is going on? What are they feeling that they are not processing? Okay, we have Magician and the Mirror in the upright position. The Thinking Man reversed. Angel of Strength in the upright position. There's something about the left side, or the left side of even like your body. I don't know, someone could be left-handed here. There's something about the left. I don't know how that connects for someone, but what I'm getting is that it's almost as though you're being called back to your balance with Magician and the Mirror. And when you call yourself back to your balance, it will naturally push this person to look at what is unbalancing them. Because with the Thinking Man reversed, I feel like this is someone who is very logically oriented. They don't really see things from an energy perspective, which is part of how they're kind of writing off this thing that they're not feeling within themselves. But something about your presence is actually bringing this emotion within them that they're not processing to the surface in a stronger and louder way. But now it's almost reached this point, I would say, where you are being called back to rebalance yourself and to let this person process internally what is coming up for them. But this is requiring a lot of strength and confidence from you. And I'm hearing knowing what is yours and what is theirs with Angel of Strength here in the upright position. I feel almost like whenever you're around this person after, some trademarks of how you might feel are you might feel overwhelmed. You may feel anxious out of nowhere or waves of anxiety. You may feel this heaviness around you or like this immediate need to cleanse your space or to do like a salt bath or to sage your home or something like that because you feel and sense that heavy energy. You may also find yourself suddenly self-doubting or thinking or having internal dialogue that is not usual to you. So you might start to find that your internal dialogue is very self-deprecating or is very self-doubting, even though that's not your baseline energy. That's not typical to you. And so if that is happening to you after being around this person, it can be a sign that you are almost kind of picking up on their inner talk, on their inner dialogue, that they are not even consciously really aware of themselves or letting themselves be aware of. I feel like this is someone who presents as very confident on the surface, but then beneath the surface, there is all of this insecurity and self-doubt, and there's something that they haven't healed on their heart here as well. But I feel like you are meant to be holding the example of a higher timeline with the Temple Path card. I'm getting this message that like, if you don't really know what to do in this situation, the best thing you can do is call yourself back to balance. Set any boundaries accordingly to allow yourself to come back to your core energy, which is still very beautiful and radiant and balanced and confident and self-loving, because that's the place that you've worked yourself to allow yourself to hold that energy, to maybe set boundaries when it comes to opening the more vulnerable parts of yourself to this person, and to let them deal with and process whatever is coming up for them emotionally as you focus on staying aligned with your highest timeline. And I'm hearing that as you do that, this person will be forced to process whatever they haven't been looking at and to either rise to meet you or to stay stuck in those looping patterns of suppression and to find and connect with other distractions, not necessarily in the form of other people, but just in general. They have to choose whether they're going to keep looking for distractions and band-aids or whether they are going to really do the inner work and connect with you on a higher level. So that is the core message coming through here, but I do want to give this a deeper look in the extended. So I do want to look specifically on a deeper level at what this person may be dealing with emotionally or processing. I feel like there could be some like inner child wounding coming up here as well. But I also really want to look at more messages for you, Divine Feminine. I want to look at where you are going energetically, what is coming for you, any other messages from your spirit guides or your higher self, as well as who or what may be sending you energy or connecting with you at this time. And that will be helpful for you because when we're channeling into what could be connecting with you externally, that helps you to better really lock in consciously what your personal core baseline energy is. It's like you're able to more easily sift out what is yours from what could be coming externally by identifying those external sources of energy. So I'm going to be continuing on to the extended reading now, which is available on either Patreon or YouTube memberships, just depending on your preference. The link to access is in the pinned comment and description box below. Otherwise, I'm sending you all huge amounts of love and light energy. Have an amazing day, and I will connect with you here again in Friday's reading.